All right, everyone. Welcome back to another session of conversion therapy. I'm one of your hosts, Justin.
I'm one of your hosts, Jordan.
And thanks for joining. Today we got obviously a couple topics planned out. Hopefully we're going to get to the topic that we've been having on our radar for the past 3 weeks. Month. Oh, yeah, that's true. I love how you remember that one episode where I was like, oh, like what's happened in the last week of your life, or like what's happened in between.
Yeah, episode 3.
Even though this is like literally like the span of 2 days of in between filming. I mean, we haven't talked about it last week. Has there been anything exciting happening to you?
Are you actually asking me?
Yes, I actually am.
Well, I mean, not since last time I talked to you 48 hours ago.
Well, like, what about the session? What about the last time you talked about it in the session, which was episode 3?
Yeah, but remember what happened? That episode went completely off the rails. So I don't know if we should take it that direction. I just found out what POG meant. That's pretty exciting.
Party. Per. Yeah, I mean, even if like I had something, I don't really have anything. Oh, I got this. I got a little advent calendar.
I'm kind of jealous, to be honest.
Right? With you. I can't remember the last time I had one of these. Oh, I was having frozen mangoes earlier, and I got a brain freeze, and I haven't had a brain freeze in like 2 years. And I was like, what is this feeling? But it, like, I hate the feeling of brain. Like, obviously, it's not like a pleasant feeling, but it's so like uncomfortable, and it like affects your entire body. It's really weird.
Do you know how to stop brain freeze?
How?
You
plugging
put your
nose?
No, that'd be weird.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
You put your tongue on the roof of your mouth.
Does that actually work?
I read that somewhere once.
Have you tried it?
Yes.
Does it work?
I mean, I feel like it gives you like a placebo effect.
You know what works? This. Did you try it? Yeah. Did it work? Kinda.
Okay. And I'll jump right in and lay out the next topic, but I want to say this, and I mentioned this to Justin. We strive to be factually correct in all the things that we portray to you.
Fuck off. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I had a friend who recently put me on blast, or put us on blast, because when we were talking about Rittenhouse, I think the first time, we mentioned that he was toting an automatic weapon. It was in fact a semi-automatic weapon.
I literally don't remember saying that. Straight up, I don't remember saying that.
I don't either, but I never re-listened to them because I hate the sound of my own voice.
Mood.
But so
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, but he said that we said it multiple times, so I'm gonna take his word for it.
I'm gonna take my word for it. No, I'm just kidding.
But I think, and I said this at the time. I don't like personally like. It's important to be factual, but I think that the point got across that like whether it's semi or automatic, it's a mass killing machine. That's what I said to him.
Did you hear the judge drop the gun charge?
Yes, I did. They're in deliberations now. Hey, at the time that we're shooting.
Jury,
yeah. And you know what? The fact that it's taking like this long, I'd like to think is a good sign.
Just because it doesn't show a sign of like unanimous decision.
Yeah, because I mean, if it came back like boom, then it's going to be an acquittal, I think.
Yeah. I have a question for you then. Okay. And I remember I did this before. I was like, do you know this? And you were like, yeah. I was like, what is it? And you were like, I don't know it. Remember?
Oh God, yeah.
So you said you do know that the gun charge was dropped. What was it dropped because of?
Let me think. I don't know. I don't remember. I remember at the time.
Apparently in said law that they were kind of suing against, it mentioned the size of the barrel that the gun had. So I guess the law was for short barreled guns, but this gun had a larger barrel than what was specified. So they found a loophole around it.
See, I thought it was I'm glad I didn't say this, because I thought it was that he actually didn't break any gun laws in Wisconsin. I thought that's what it was. So what is the law with long barrel guns then?
That's a good question. I don't know. I was like trying to find it. I mean, okay, so I literally spent like 5 minutes looking just because I was focusing on the research, even though I didn't do much for this episode.
That's a good thing to tell the viewers.
I mean, we're still gonna have a good episode. Come on.
Of course, I'm here.
Wisconsin.
You're just gonna let that slide?
What?
Nothing. Good. I got away with it.
Of course, I'm here. For what?
Fuck.
Good research? I thought you were joking. That's why I didn't. So, okay, yeah, it says, I guess, 941.28, possession of a short-barreled shotgun or short-barreled rifle. I just butchered shotgun, my God. I don't know if there is any for long, but, like, that wouldn't make any sense, because I guess... Because, like, they said it wasn't illegal for open carry, but that wouldn't make any sense for, like, there's no open carry laws for long-barreled guns. Like, can anyone literally just carry it? But, like, this is what I can, like...
Well,
I'm sure there is something.
I mean, you'd think there would be a law, but also think about this when you're writing a law, right? Like, who walks around like with a 12 gauge, you know? Like, I don't know. It's like a weird thing to make a law for. Like, could you imagine someone just like walking to Safeway with like a semi-automatic
In the
weapon?
States?
I mean, I guess in the States, yeah.
I was about to say, do you really want me to answer that question? One of my, I'm not saying friends. One of the people that I used to talk to, he was 16 at the time, and he was like, yeah, like, I'm getting a gun. Like, my dad's buying me a gun. I was like, what the fuck? And he was like so excited. He's like, it's my birthday present. I'm just like, what the fuck is the States?
Have you ever shot a gun?
Yes.
Where?
To you. I'm just kidding. My uncle took my sister and I out shooting, and I can't remember where it was.
At a range or just like in the bush?
Just like in the bush. Like, it was like a pretty large field. And then he has like a BB gun, and then we like shot that too. But like, yeah, we shot like I don't know. I don't really know what to call it. Like a rifle, I guess. Not like no. I don't know. Maybe like a sniper. I can't really remember what the gun was.
Was it like a single
ago.
shot? Like,
yeah.
Like you. Okay.
And then yeah, it was. I mean, it was fun. Like, there was a lot of like. Is it recoil or pullback?
Yeah,
when, like, you shoot it?
That's literally what I was gonna say. Is like the movies. Like, I can't watch movies like realistically now that shoot. Like, it's just so unrealistic. Like, when you'll see dudes like running and like shooting sideways, it's like, dude, that's not a thing. Like,
that's so funny because like, I mean, this is like, I have the same reaction to movies, but over a different topic. So when I watch a lot of like gay movies, like movies that center around like a gay couple or like have a gay couple in it.
Shocker.
I know. Oh my God. And in these movies, whenever there's some sort of like gay sex scene, they're so just inaccurate. You don't, okay, like, if you're waking up in the morning as a gay person, you don't just like spontaneously have sex. That's not a thing. Unless you want it to be like dirty and nasty, then yeah, for sure, go ahead. But there's so much prep work no matter what time you do it. Because, baby, like, majority of the time, guess what hole you're going to be using?
I have nothing to add to this conversation.
But it's so, like, I haven't really even seen like one fucking TV show or movie that accurately like displays that. You remember Brokeback Mountain?
Yeah, great movie.
Jake Gyllenhaal got butt fucked with a fucking ton of beans in his ass. Stay safe, kids.
Well, that went off the rails for a second there.
I mean, sex education is very important. And I mean, this wasn't even taught to me until like porn taught it to me. Do you think porn is like a really good source of sex education?
No.
You don't?
No.
Why?
Do you think we're getting a little bit off topic here?
We're 10 minutes in. We can talk about this.
Do you want to knock off that topic we've been putting off for?
I don't really care. It's been 3 weeks. What's another?
No.
We have three. We have three. We normally have 4 planned topics.
Okay, let's do this. I'm going into topic 1.
Okay, go.
Okay.
You're wasting time.
Okay, so topic 1, there's been some recent developments in the Oscar Pistorius murder trial. So for those of you who don't know, Oscar Pistorius was the first double amputee to run in the able-bodied Olympics. He was a Paralympian before this, and he was probably the best Paralympian track and field runner of all time. he used these prosthetic limbs that were resembled sort of like, they look kind of like razors or blades. So he's been labeled the Blade Runner. He was kind of really crushing the Paralympic Games. So that's why he was really pushing to run in the able-bodied games. So he was dating a FHM model, Riva Steenkamp, and one night, when his defense goes is that he got up one night, heard a noise in his bathroom, grabbed his gun and fired, I think it was 3 shots into the bathroom door, and killed his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. He believes, or he says allegedly, that he didn't know that she wasn't in bed beside him, and he thought it was an intruder that was going to cause him and her harm. And only after he fired these shots did he realize that Riva wasn't in the room with him. The prosecution claims, obviously, that it was a crime of passion, that they got into an argument and Oscar flew off the handle, grabbed his weapon, and fired 3 shots. I know at the time when they were prosecuting, one of the main things that they were trying to get for premeditation was whether or not he put his prosthetic limbs on when he got out of bed. It appears that he did not, if I recall correctly. He ran on his just like sort of like his stumps. Yeah, so what happened was he was found guilty of culpable homicide, which is our equivalent to involuntary manslaughter. He was sentenced to, I think, 7 years in prison. But then I guess what happened in South African law, which obviously couldn't happen here, was they overturned that sentence. I don't even think it was an appeal. I think they just overturned it a year later, and they gave him, I think they gave him some certain degree of, I think it was some degree of murder, second-degree murder, and they doubled the sentence. He got like 15 years. So I think he served about half of his sentence, and he's eligible for parole. He was actually eligible for parole in July of this year. But a part of South African law is you have to, so basically before you're able to formally apply for parole, you have to meet with the accuser or the accuser's family, the victim's family. So he's having to meet with Riva's parents before he can apply for parole. They can question him. He can show remorse if he feels remorse. And apparently, just a little tidbit, what caused this sort of thing to happen, because that never happens here. If you're on parole, you don't have to meet with the victim's family or the victim. Was during apartheid, when apartheid was abolished, when there were people prosecuted for crimes during apartheid, when they applied for parole, the victims got to voice the wrongs that were done to them. So they just sort of kept that on in South African law. So that's sort of where we're at now.
Yeah, it was weird because I remember reading stuff about it, and I was trying to find like the because you were like the update in the trial, and I was like, "Where's the update? Where's the update?" And I was like, I pulled up like multiple articles, and I was like, "Where is this update? Like, what is it?" But then I found something that, yeah, like in November 2021, the South African prison authorities launched the first procedural steps to consider the parole of Oscar, incarcerated for the murder of his girlfriend. Apparently, with like the most recent sentencing, he wasn't like eligible for parole until I think they said 2023.
Yes, and all of a sudden it's blindsided everybody because it's like now, and that no one really knows why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's definitely like I'm not gonna lie, I basically heard nothing about this until you'd mentioned it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it was like I said, it was like 8 years ago, but like when this was a thing, it was huge. I remember it was kind of like it was like, I would say it was like half as big as like the O.J. Simpson trial, which is probably the biggest trial of all time. Yeah, it was. What was I was going to say something else about this. I lost my train of thought. But anyways, did you watch any of the trial footage? No? Okay. So a lot of people like, and I think I'm sort of in the minority here, but I actually thought when he was reacting to when like the prosecuting attorney was like ruthless on him, ruthless. like when he wouldn't get an answer from a certain question, he would be like, look, I'm not letting this go. I know you're crying. Why are you crying now? Like, you're going to answer the question. And I thought like Oscar throughout the trial, like he seemed like really distraught and really apathetic. And he came across as genuine to me, but most people thought he was being dramatic. And then there was a psychologist. Sorry, my NVIDIA keeps popping up. I guess they had a psychologist that was probably on the defensive side based on what they said, but they said that Oscar has generalized anxiety, so they think that he was more apt to react to an intruder with hostile force than he would be to flee, like maybe a typical person would be. So they're saying that was a factor. And they also said that Oscar he's very remorseful for what he did and he feels guilt, but like they're saying that like his generalized anxiety contributed to like what he did without thinking, kind of thing.
Hearing like the story of like his defense of what happened, honestly, like it doesn't make much sense to me, just on the basis of, one, he didn't announce himself, obviously, because if he does, he would have realized that it was his girlfriend at the time. Or sorry, were they married? Girlfriend?
No, they were boyfriend girlfriend. Yeah.
Boyfriend girlfriend. Okay, cool. And also the whole like excuse of, I didn't know she was in my bed. If there's if this were to happen to me, and let's say like I am living with a guy, and like
you're gonna say exactly what I was gonna say.
If I notice that I hear something in the house and I'm thinking it could be like an intruder or somebody trying to rob my house, the first thing I'm gonna do is look next to me and make sure that it's not her.
Yes, sorry, and you're gonna say, stay here. I think there's someone in the house.
Yes,
I'm gonna go see.
Yes,
100%. And like, I think that's the biggest thing that goes against him.
It just doesn't like make any logical sense for that to happen. And the whole thing, like, I mean, I haven't seen the trial footage, but like, I don't know, maybe I'll watch it after. But I mean, I obviously can't like react to it as like we're filming because like we're filming right now and I haven't seen it. But I don't know, like, I don't know. It's just such like an unbelievable story. I just feel like any tears related to it, I would not buy, because it's just like, I don't know. I've never heard a story like that as like a defense for killing somebody. Like even if I'm like living alone, let's say, and I hear something, I'm probably gonna like announce myself, or like if I know that there's like a door between us, so like they have to react and like open the door, then I'm gonna like get behind some sort of cover so that if they do shoot, if they do have a weapon on them, or if they do come out of the door, I have enough time to react, so I can announce myself, see who it is, and then react accordingly. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm the type of person to like either do that, or if I'm the type of person to call the cops and like run out of my house just so I don't get harmed. But if I'm with like my boyfriend or my husband or whatever, and this happens, like the first thing that I'm gonna do because like I'm a pussy, so I'm gonna wake him up. But if he's not there, I'm gonna be like, oh crap, that's probably him.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna wake her up and I'm gonna be like, so look, I'm getting behind you. You deal with this.
So look, and then she's gonna be like, but I don't want to do that either. And you're gonna be like, okay, let's go grab Frank. But
yeah, no, I agree.
I think that's just such like I don't know. That's just like a prevalent point against him that is really hard to overlook, because I mean, it's not even just like the one thing that like you messed up on. It's like the second thing too, that you didn't announce yourself, or like even like call for help, or like, I don't know, that it just doesn't make any sense. Was there? So I'm assuming that at this trial they brought up the possibility of them arguing. Did they have any like receipts with that? Like any text messages? Any friends that testified?
They went through their entire like text messaging history. They had a very toxic relationship, like very toxic. But like there's that, like there was toxic communication, but then like they've also pulled up like video footage of them in like grocery stores and this and that. And they like, it seemed like they had like a really Jekyll and Hyde relationship, where like it would be really, really toxic, and then they'd be in public. And like there was this one that I remember seeing, and it was them grocery shopping, and they were like being like really affectionate. And this is when no one's around to perceive them too, so that you know it's genuine. So yeah, I think they had reason to believe that they fought a lot.
And it's also just like, where was his gun in relation to all this? Was it hidden? Was it
under his bed? Under his bed.
Which side?
It was
like I
I
guarantee you they've asked him like a play-by-play on like which side of the bed he was laying on versus which
yes,
side she
yes.
was, and then which side like the gun was closer to. Because if he's gonna like if he's gonna have to go over her to get it, or like somewhere to where he knows that she is or is not in the bed, then
Don't
that's gonna
quote
be
me.
against him.
Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it was under his pillow.
Oh, that's weird.
That's actually a common place that people
I
that keep their
know.
gun that keep their gun. And I want to mention this too because South Africa has one of the highest crime rates in the world, and he lived in a gated community. So like when like they're like where we live, right? Like a home invasion is less likely than a place like that, right? So that's a factor too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, like first reading about this, it was just like a really, and then he did like a cover for Time, which like that cover is fucking weird. Like it's a picture of him with both his like prosthetic legs on, and then it says man, Superman, gunman. And then
So this was after the trial.
so this was 11th or sorry, this was March 11th, 2013. So I'm pretty sure that the trial was after that. But
Okay.
I don't know if they had announced what
He
had
was a gun
happened.
enthusiast. He was a gun enthusiast, and they actually
Shocking.
when he was found guilty of culpable homicide, he was actually found guilty for discharging a firearm in public for like a prior event.
Jesus.
He shot a gun in a restaurant under the table.
Okay, so it said I guess this was his psychological assessment. It says
Mm-hmm.
Pistorius was also assessed by clinical psychologist Jonathan Schultz on the 2nd of July. This was 2000. I don't know when this was actually. Sorry. Defense lawyer Rue read excerpts from his reports, which stated Mr. Pistorius, Jesus Christ, I hate his name, has been severely traumatized by the events that took place on February 14th, 2013. This was Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it was. It was actually. I'm glad you mentioned that. Isn't that
That's
like
fucked up.
a
That's
fucked
even
up?
more fucked
That's a
up.
fucked up dichotomy, man.
That's even more fucked up. That does not look good. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
I watched this ESPN 30 for 30 documentary on like the him and the whole case, like probably about a year ago. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember like the thing that they alluded to a lot was like, so think about it. So like when he had his legs amputated when he was very young. So he had been they talk about like the development of his psychological profile. Like so he was fighting against that his whole life. Okay. And then they told him he couldn't be an athlete. So he was proving that he could. And then they told him he couldn't compete in the Olympics, and he was fighting to prove that he could. And he had like almost like this superiority complex, almost because of like all the things that he overcame and was told that he couldn't do. Like I remember when one of the big things for him when he was fighting to compete in the able-bodied Olympics, they were the IOC, the Olympic Committee, they commissioned a study to try to determine whether or not he had an advantage over able-bodied runners. And this one study, which ended up they banned him from this study. They said he couldn't compete, was showing that like so they showed that the input of energy he put into running gets a greater output than able-bodied people because of these blades and how they retain energy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that all played into it a little bit, but I do agree with you that on the surface of it, it seems like his defense is invalid and doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is, I guess, hypothetically possible. And when the judge gave him charged him with culpable homicide, she just matter of factly stated that the prosecution didn't portray murder in adequate sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when the appeal or when they overturned it, the judge said that the judge kind of blasted the previous judge. He said that the previous judge showed an unbelievable amount of leniency.
Hmm. I wonder what do you think about this Kyle Rittenhouse judge?
Well, and that's I was actually going to say that too. Is when I was saying that he was genuine. Maybe I'm just comparing it to Kyle Rittenhouse on the stand. Um,
True. True.
so
Yeah,
like
it's funny. You brought up how the prosecution was very aggressive
So aggressive.
And so it says here, prosecutor Jerry Nell, known as a bull terrier for his aggressive interrogations, claimed Pistorius hadn't shown any remorse and accused Pistorius of, quote, getting emotional in court because you're frustrated with, or sorry, because you're getting frustrated with, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Oh, because you're getting frustrated because your version of events is improbable, end quote.
Yeah. So there was one point um, where he was telling him, like, he was trying to get at like his intent. Like he was saying, so did you fire at the intruder, or did you fire at the door? Like, were you aiming at the door? Were you aiming at the intruder? And then I forget what his answer was, but he's like, okay, so let me get this straight. You're basically changing your defense, because this is what you said initially, and now this is what you're saying. And then Pistorius was like, I don't know the law. Like, I'm just telling you, like, I wasn't thinking at the time. I was afraid. And like, oh, this guy was like, and then Pistorius started to cry, and he's like, why are you crying now? Like, why are you like, it was pretty brutal. And then there was one point in the trial where he was like, I want you to look at these photos of Riva. Like, look at her. And he's like bawling, and he's like, I don't need to look at them. I saw them. My hands were on her head when she was dying. He's like, it was pretty brutal.
So did they, I'm, Jesus Christ, I'm assuming they did an autopsy on her.
I'm sure they did. Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna see, did
But
they
actually,
find out like how
I do
many
know
bullets?
I do know where the bullets hit. Yes. So one hit her in the last one hit her in the head, one hit her in the hip, and then I think one hit her in the back.
All three connected,
I think so.
and he was behind a door.
Yeah.
Is this bullshit? You know the probability of that happening? That is so
maybe
fucking
he fired
unlikely.
more than 3 times, but 3 hit her for sure. I know that for sure. Hip, back, and head.
If he fired only 3 times and all of them hit, I call so much bullshit that he fired behind a fucking door and he didn't know that was her.
Yeah, but the forensics would determine if it was through. That's easy to determine whether it was through the door or not.
Well, then he wouldn't have a case.
Oh, you know what's interesting too is they fudged up the murder weapon too, eh?
Oh, like the pistol?
Yeah. So
did they say it was a different pistol and then they found out the rounds were from a different one?
One of the investigators handled it without gloves.
Oh, bitch.
Yeah. So one of the detectives said, like, he goes, I was on scene and there was one of the guys that was holding the gun, and then he goes, he all of a sudden his face went white and he looked at me, and I said to him, what? And he's like, I'm not wearing gloves. Like, what the fuck?
Good Lord. How the fuck do you make that mistake? That's like one of the most important things when handling props at a fucking crime scene, not props.
I'm sure he got fired for that.
100%.
He or she.
They. Yeah, I'm like. So yeah, I'm reading like the reactions, and it said, according to media monitoring company ROI Africa, the majority of social media comments during the delivery of the verdict were critical of Masipa after it became evident that Pistorius would not be found guilty of murder. Masipa, who was given police protection, wow, oh my God, weird, I've never seen that before, from the beginning of the trial, was subjected to threats and personal attacks by people who disagreed with the verdict. Police protection? Wow. That's like the first time I've ever reading that. Oh my goodness. What do you think is going to happen with the whole like reopening or like updated case?
I don't think he's going to get parole. What do you think?
I honestly really don't know.
I think that it's only been like half of his sentence, and I'm assuming he'll be up again in like 2 years or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's probably more of a realistic.
I mean, that was his planned like year of parole was 2023 from what I'm reading.
Yeah, I think that it's probably unlikely. Yeah, like you know what's interesting, and this is a bit of a sidebar, but when I was looking up stuff for this, I came across like I was looking at a bunch of different trials because they were coming up. Like I looked at I was watching when the judge read out the verdict for the Larry Nassar case, like the gymnast doctor.
Yeah.
She was such a good judge, first of all, but she was like, she read this like 14-minute statement out where she's like, when I determine my sentence, there's 3 factors I'm supposed to take in, and it's that it it inhibits other people from doing the same thing, that it punishes you for what you did, and also includes your likelihood for rehabilitation. And she says basically like that I don't think you're ever going to be rehabilitated. I need to set an example and I need to punish you. So she's like, if I gave you a life sentence, you would be eligible for parole at some point. So she's like, if I give you a number of years, you have to first serve those years before you're eligible for parole. So she gave him like, I think she gave him like 100 years or some shit. So like she like made sure like he's never getting out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that's an interesting way to do it, but I like it.
Yeah, I remember I was watching something recently on Nicholas Cruz, who was the Parkland school shooter.
Yeah.
And I can't remember really what it was, if it was like full sentencing or whatever, but there was a female judge for that one. And she was kind of going over everything. And she was like, do you have anxiety or like depression that will like distract you from whatever's going on in this room? He was like, no. And she's like, have you gotten anxiety ever since like the beginning of what happened? And then he was like, yes. And then she was like, okay, that's normal given the circumstances, basically given the fact that you killed however many fucking kids. And I was just like, bitch. But like, oh my God, that kid. I really encourage you to watch the JCS video on that kid.
Is that the hour-long one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
did you watch the whole thing?
Mm-hmm. I watched that thing probably like 5 times. Like I've watched it many times more, but I've watched it start to finish probably about 5 times.
So what is it like? Is it chilling? Like what's the...
So, I mean, I don't really, I'm sure some people find it chilling just on the basis that it's like based on real life. And like, this is something that actually happened. And obviously the Parkland school shooting was maybe the most infamous school shooting in the States, maybe even in the world.
I think it was Columbine personally.
But wait, was Columbine, was that a school or a church?
It was a school in Colorado. That was like really like
Which one was the church?
I'm not sure. Was that the one? Was that the you talking about the mosque? That one?
No.
No. I mean, honestly, it's sad, but it's so hard to keep up with the mass shootings now. But the reason why Columbine was like a big one was that's big when it was way less common, right? Like way less common.
Oh yeah, 100%. This was like 1999 was Columbine.
Yeah.
And like 15 people died. But yeah, like so basically the video is just kind of like a rundown of what happened. They have video footage of once they caught Cruz, he tried to play. The video is entitled "What Pretending to Be Crazy Looks Like," because he didn't want capital punishment, and you can't be sentenced to capital punishment if you're found mentally insane. And if you're found mentally insane, you're sentenced not to like a jail, you're sentenced to like either like an asylum or like what's the facilities that house? I can't think of the word for them.
Like a facility for the criminally insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that yeah, but yeah, that so I guess he wanted to.
Sorry, is insane a PC term anymore? I'm probably not, right?
I don't think so. Criminally insane is a thing.
Okay. Anyways, go on.
But yeah, there was 17 in the Parkland school shooting. There were 17 deaths, and this is like a thing from a month ago. It says Parkland shooter pleads guilty to 17 counts of murder, which is not a surprise. But yeah, they have footage of him like leaving, trying to blend in with the crowd because he was pretty young. He's now 23. I'm pretty sure at the time, this was 2018. He was 19.
So how did they catch him?
They off of what's it called, reports of what he was wearing and like his size and like whatever, and then they finally caught him. So like after he had killed many people, he had left and he went to I think it was a McDonald's that was nearby, and he sat down next to one of the victim's siblings. I think I mentioned this before in a previous episode, but that was enough time for him to like do that kind of shit, and then they caught him not too long after. And then it's basically the rundown of him talking to, I can't really remember what the title of this person was, but it was just like talking about the events that happened. He was trying to play up the fact that he was crazy and like he was hearing voices and they were telling him to like kill. And then, yeah, it's a good video. I mean, they have a lot of good videos on the channel. But yeah, I really encourage anyone listening to watch that video. That video was, I don't really, because like I'm very into true crime, so I don't really get easily like uncomfortable or like get chills from watching those types of videos. It takes a little bit for me to actually feel uncomfortable,
And
but
I'm just looking it up, but I think that video has like over 1 million views for like an hour-long video.
oh, it has so many. That video probably has like 40 million now, I'm assuming. Sorry, I'm okay, good. JCS Nick Cruz.
52 million.
Yeah, because the last time I checked, it had around 40 million. But yeah,
that's insane.
Oh, they have a video of a visit that he got from his brother. That's on Global News. Jeez.
Like recent?
No, from 3 years ago. It was when they were doing the questioning on him, which would have been probably day of. But yeah, I just, like what goes through somebody's fucking head to do that?
Like to act crazy or to do the shooting?
To do the shooting. I mean both, but like to do the shooting.
We've talked about this off camera, and I defer a lot to my boy Jordan Peterson, but I think it's nihilism, a descendant in nihilism. It's just like, yeah, it's a combination of things.
Oh well, yeah, definitely. But yeah, he brought up in like the courtroom that he only completed up to grade 11. I guess he was a grade 12 dropout, and Jesus, he had talked about like experiencing like a severe amount of bullying throughout his schooling, which obviously isn't uncommon. That's not an uncommon motive at all in school shootings, but yeah, that video was. I mean, it's kind of the JCS channel. They do a lot of this kind of stuff with different cases. I guess they do it with like different like. What's it called? I wouldn't say like viral, but like high priority cases, I guess you can say. Yeah, I mean, I encourage anyone to go and watch the videos. I feel like they're also extremely like informative. They give you like a rundown of what happened during the days or like leading up to. Obviously, accounts from the victims and Nick Cruz, who was the shooter in this case.
But yeah, I think a lot of like the common knee-jerk reaction is to blame, like whenever something like this happens, is to blame like certain aspects of the media or certain bands or artists or certain video games or TV shows, to a lesser extent gun laws, which I think is probably the most valid out of any of them. But I think it's like I said, it's nihilistic, and it's also like it's sort of like giving up in a greater sense of not even like I don't want to live anymore. It's I want to cause the most amount of pain on my way out.
Do you think, like, how big of a role do you think upbringing and childhood plays into it, like with your family?
Well, I mean, I think that, like, and I think that's a really common debate of like nature versus nurture in terms of like what a person's disposition ends up being.
Yeah.
I think that they're both factors, but I personally think that nurture is less of a factor than nature personally. I think that you can have certain views that your parents might believe growing up, or you can have certain experiences, but you can overcome those. I can show you and you can probably think of a lot of examples of that happening. I think that a kid needs a certain amount of guidance and a certain amount of approval from their parents to feel psychologically okay. But I think that, I think upbringing plays a role.
Yeah.
Short answer.
Yeah, I would agree. But yeah, you mentioned before the fact that you think that the most valid reason would be like gun laws and like unstable gun laws. I mean, especially in the States, which
the most valid of the main ones that people go to right after
that, especially like that are brought up in court as like potential motives. But it's funny that you mentioned that. So I haven't looked up the number specifically, but I've seen numbers on like years prior about mass shootings in the US, and it's a lot. Like it's like basically one every day for the year, maybe even more. And so I remember I was in Vegas visiting some friends, and we got into this conversation because I guess we were just like joking around. We were like, oh, like, what do you think's a better country, like Canada or the U.S.? I'm just like, well, Canada. And if you're going, there's so many factors that put Canada above the U.S. I was like, it's just like a safer place to live, a better education system. Like there's so many things that put it above. And then the guy was like, well, why do you think it's a safer place to live? And then I listed a bunch of different things that go along with it. And I was like, also, y'all have like mass shootings once every fucking day, if not more. And then his basic argument, and word for word, I'm literally quoting him, was the reason that the states have so much mass shootings is because they're targeted more than Canada. And I said, okay, first of all, this isn't more than Canada. This is more than any other place in the world. Second of all,
what do they mean by targeted?
Exactly. I was like, what do you mean by targeted? Like targeted by other Americans? That doesn't make any sense at all. It's not like people are flying in overseas to shoot people. Like majority of mass shootings in Canada, in the States are done by American citizens. So I don't know why this argument of like being targeted. And then he couldn't think of anything. He literally could not think of anything. And it's funny. I was like, I know exactly why you motherfucking think that. And it's because all you watch is Steven Crowder and fucking Ben Shapiro. That's the only reason you think that. You've never done any like detailed, unbiased research on your own, because if you had, you would have realized how much of a problem the states have, but you don't. And then he also brought up the fact that, the states have like 10 times the population as Canada. I was like, that's fantastic. You can look at crime rates per capita and the states exceed Canada by a shit ton. Like there's no comparison.
More than 10 times. Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
But I think like I remember last year when the pandemic started, it was either March or April where I saw this thing on social media where it was like, this April or March was the first month in US history since like whatever year that there hasn't been a mass shooting. And it was because like the economy had closed down and no one was going anywhere. Right. So that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's obviously information that is probably going to be right here. So I'm going to look it up right now.
What are you looking at?
Mass shootings in United States 2021. So already I can see 437 deaths. I'm trying
I think they define a mass shooting as 4 or more deaths.
I don't think so.
No?
I think they define it by how many people are injured.
Okay, maybe 4 or more.
I think mass murder is.
I remember it being 4, like maybe 4 or more people.
Yeah,
shot.
I think it is that because a lot of these, like I don't see anything less than 4.
Okay.
Holy fuck. There are so many. Like, okay, I will count how many there have been in November.
Okay.
There's.
Okay, first of all, what do you think?
Oh, I just count. Okay, wait. I just counted November, so I will say November, and then we'll do what we think for October.
Okay.
So there's been 19 already in November.
Okay.
And it's November 17th right now. The last one reported was the 15th, which was in New York, and it 4 injured, no deaths, but it says 4 men were shot outside of a bodega in Harlem. What is a bodega? Is that just like a small business? Oh yeah, it's a convenience store. Okay, cool. Okay. I was about to say, I was like, that sounds really familiar.
So October, I'm gonna say 35.
35. I'm gonna go 41. I hate the fact that this is like a guessing game. This is actually very sad that this is like. So wow, there's 5 already for October 31st.
Holy shit.
11 for the last 2 days of the month.
Okay, it's gonna be way higher.
Okay, so we're at October 15th. There's 37.
Jesus Christ. It's going to be like 70.
Holy fuck. Okay, this is I literally just skimmed through and I'm like going off of 5, so it's either 63, 64 or 65 in 1 month. Holy fuck.
That's I'm actually shocked by that.
I am like, that's 4 people injured or dead or more.
Mm-hmm.
What? Even I'm shocked by that, and I knew that there were so many.
Yeah, same.
Holy shit. I'm just Jesus. Okay, so it says um as of October 2021, so this is last month. I don't know if this is like the end of October or the beginning, but it says 470, of which 240 resulted in 0 deaths, fit the mass shooting tracker project criterion, leaving 482 people dead and almost 2,000 people injured, for a total of just a bit lower than 2,500 total victims, some including the shooters. Holy shit. That is, yeah, I'm at, holy fuck. That's actually insane. I did not think it would be that high. Yeah, the US is fucked. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, I don't know how much of it, like, I don't know what kind of reaction to have to that. That's crazy. Like, that is, yeah, that's also another reason why I don't think I would feel fully safe in the States if I ever, because, like, there was a time.
I thought you said you wanted to move there.
I was about to say, there was a time that I wanted to move to Vegas.
You don't anymore?
No.
You mentioned you wanted to do this only like 3 months ago.
No, God, no, way more than that.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we were talking about this, and I'm like, why wouldn't you just like move somewhere else here? And you're like,
yeah,
no,
that was more than 3 months ago.
Anyways,
it was probably around, like, I'd say 5 or 6 months, but I did want to, because I was like, because I had been in Vegas before, obviously, as I've mentioned a couple minutes ago, or, well, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes ago. And, like, I can sincerely say that it was, like, the best time of my life. So I spent time in Vegas with my best friends at the time, who I do not talk to anymore. They are both pieces of fucking garbage. But I was very happy, and I knew that even if I didn't have them in my life, I could still make a living for myself, and I could still do the things that I love and enjoy. And, like, I don't know, there's something satisfying to me about, like, starting, like, a life in, like, a new place. You know what I mean? Like, just, like, moving and kind of really, like, starting over and just, like, building a life for yourself, even though you're already a certain age. But I think I'm still on board with doing that. I just don't know if I'd want to do that in the States. Sincerely, I don't know. Maybe maybe there is a place that I might want to, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll be one of those, like, leftists that moves to Texas just to turn them blue. And then once I've done my job, I'm like, all right, time to go to another
That's
red
happening
state.
a lot, hey?
Oh, yeah, with Californians.
Yeah, a lot. Like, Texas is such, like, a wish-washy state now.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how their voting practices turn out for the next election.
Yeah.
But should we move on to our second topic?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll lay this one out too.
Okay.
Oh
yeah, because I have a question for it after you lay it out.
Okay. So yeah, I saw on a news ticker the other day that inflation rates, and I thought it was Canada, but it wasn't Canada, had hit a 30-year high in the month of August.
You know what's funny?
What?
So this isn't about the inflation. I thought we were moving on to our third topic. So I'm like, oh yeah, so my question that I have is about the third topic. So just ignore the fact that I have a question. I'll ask it once we move on.
We're going to get to that today, though. We're going to get to
Yes, we will, 100%.
Okay. So, yeah, so basically into high inflation rates. So I found that, so in Canada, so for us, inflation hit 4.4% in September of 2020, which is the highest since 2003. So for the States, I couldn't find like a super reliable inflation number, but their consumer price index, which measures sort of like common consumer goods like food and fuel, hit 6.2% in October 2021, which is their highest in 30 years. So there's a number of theories on like why this is. I watched an interview with Larry Summers, who was on CNN a little while ago, and he says that he believes that the Democrat economic stimulus at the beginning of COVID, actually, yeah, I think it would have been a Democrat bill. Maybe it was
Like
bipartisan.
here?
No, in the States. In the
Oh,
States.
wait, are we talking about here or the States?
We're talking about both because they're both like hitting highs. They're
No, I
both
know, but
hitting like
that 6.2% isn't that a Canadian statistic?
that's an American statistic.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I just said that. Were you not listening?
No, I know, but like I'm reading an article on Canadian statistics, and it has 6.2%, unless it's
Well,
just a
well, that's what I found, anyways.
okay.
But anyways, so yeah, so Larry Summers believes that it was the economic stimulus bill at the beginning of the pandemic that caused this. He's saying that basically they released 15% of their country's GDP, like all in the spring of 2020, and basically that like I'm not obviously not an economist, so I don't know like exactly how that works, but so that's a theory. Another theory is that we shut down the economy at the beginning of the pandemic, and now the economy is opening back up again, has created an increased demand, which is bringing inflation back up, which was what the governments are saying. They're saying that the market will correct itself. It might take up to 2 years, but basically like what Larry Summers said is he says that the Democrats said that at this point of this year, we would be around like 2% inflation, and it's 3 times that. So that already shows that it's kind of like out of their wheelhouse.
I'm a bit confused on the point of the stimulus checks that were sent out, because I know what you're talking about. You're talking about like the kind of the first major thing that was signed once Biden took office, but
yes,
there was also checks sent out by Donald Trump, literally signed by Donald Trump.
I'm not even talking about the stimulus checks to citizens. I'm talking about like the whole bill, like the economic boost to the economy also, because it was I think it was a $15 trillion deal or some shit.
The bill?
The bill.
I don't think it was that high.
Okay, hold on. Let me look.
I think it was only like...
It was something trillion.
Oh, it was, yeah, but I don't think it was 15. Because that was the one, what was it, like $1,200 checks that were sent out? Was it that one? Or was it 1,400?
Yeah, oh no, that was that one. So 1.9 trillion this year.
Oh, that was, yeah, isn't that like the infrastructure bill or whatever?
Yeah, but that's not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for the one in 2020. Okay, it was called the CARES Act, I believe. 2.2 trillion.
Wait, yeah, the CARES Act, I don't think, no, I'm pretty sure the CARES Act was passed under Trump.
It was passed under Trump.
Okay, yeah.
So that must not be the one either?
No. Because I remember the CARES Act. Because that was the act in which all the checks that were sent out were signed by Donald Trump.
Okay. Yeah, I give up. But anyways.
Well, you can... I know, yeah, because of course, it's so annoying how like all like the, what's it called? All the recent... Oh. I think it's this. The American Rescue Plan.
Okay. What's the value? What was the date and what's the value?
So signed into law by President Joe Biden on March 11, 2021.
Okay.
And
wait,
it was
no. That's I think that's the one that I just looked at. The first one I found. I'm looking for 2020.
Joe Biden wasn't in office in 2020.
Well, whatever, the economic bill that Trump passed.
Well, then that is an accredited source. Then if you're saying 2020, Joe Biden wasn't in office until January.
Well,
2021.
maybe I got that wrong, but you're getting away from the point.
I'm not though, because your point you just made was by a guy who says that it's the Democrats' fault and just used. If you were saying this correctly, just use 2020 statistics when Biden wasn't even in office. I may not be saying it
correctly, but Larry Summers was. You got to remember, he's a Democrat, right? He was Bill Clinton's treasurer secretary.
And also, I mean, you did say that there was a $15 trillion bill. That's why I was like, that.
Yeah, well, whatever. It was in the. Maybe I'm just mixing it up with 15% of GDP. But
and
anyway,
also,
stop
stimulus.
trying to look me bad.
I'm not trying
to make me look bad.
You do that yourself. I just pointed out.
Yeah.
I also, you said there was something regarding stimulus checks, and to my knowledge, the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan are the only two acts in the middle of a pandemic that kind of gave out stimulus checks. So the CARES Act was passed under Trump, and you said that was what, $2.2 trillion?
Yeah.
And so the American Rescue Plan was right here, 1.9 trillion.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure this is the one, because I remember when this was passed. This was passed literally, I think it was like 50. Yeah, it says the Senate was 50 to 49. One must have abstained. And then it was passed by like Kamala. She was the tiebreaker vote. And yeah, signed into law on March 11th.
So, anyways, the so basically, Larry Summers is saying that it's not like the market's not gonna correct itself, and some sort of drastic measure is needed.
Yeah.
So the most common one that both governments can do is they can raise the interest rate, but this is in the States. When I'm talking about what I'm going to say next, is they haven't reached what they deem full employment yet, and raising the interest rates is going to hinder that. So they're trying to wait in doing that. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of scary. That's really high. Like,
I don't really know why they gave like an estimate that by now it would be at 2%. I even feel like that is like such like a like what's the word that I'm thinking of?
I'm literally
such
taking
an overshot. Like that's
I'm literally taking Larry Summers' word for that, and I know that's what he said.
I mean,
so,
it sounds believable.
Yeah.
Even though his other stuff. But
also,
I mean,
have
that
you ever
sounds
seen
believable.
Have you ever seen The Social Network? I actually wanted to bring this up. The movie.
Oh, the movie. I've seen it. I have never watched it start to finish, but I've seen parts of it, and I've heard people talk a lot about it.
So there's this one scene where like so at the time of the movie, Larry Summers was I think he was like head of Harvard.
Okay.
And they have a meeting with him to like try to tell him that Mark Zuckerberg has these two twins, that he's stolen their idea for Facebook. And in the movie, it's so funny. They make him seem like such a dick. And then when I was watching the interview, they're like, Larry Summers, the former. I'm like, oh shit, that's the guy from The Social Network. So I like looked it up. It was hilarious.
I love that. You did bring up the fact that one of the arguments, especially given by like government officials, is that with the economy reopening, the inflation rates are going to be a bit higher just because of like supply and demand issues. You have more people out and about doing, what is it, like grocery shopping, getting gas. Like, so those prices are going to rise because obviously it's best for a business if you have more traffic to make as much money as you can. Mm-hmm. That's normal with anything. I think I mentioned this on another podcast episode, but a lot of times people use that as like a talking point, and it doesn't make any sense at all because like that's just, and I've said this before, that's basic economics. That's just supply and demand. Like if you have more traffic, you're going to increase prices, obviously not by a lot, but there are going to be price increases. Like, for example, I'm reading this here. Let's see. With that, gasoline was a major factor as prices at the pump have risen by 41.7% since October of last year, which is very weird because I remember prices last year being like 160 here, and they're still 160.
Well, do you remember last March and April how low they got?
Oh, yeah, that's true. They got to like 130 or like 120.
No, I think they got lower than that.
Oh, not in Langley. I've never seen it go below like 125 in the past like year and a half, or even during the pandemic.
I also found that they said, so a Canada statistic is they found that like the cost of food this year is that on average, the average Canadian will pay $700 more for groceries this year than they did previously, which is that's a big deal.
Oh, that's a huge deal. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I know gas prices are well, like from what I've seen compared to here, significantly less in like Abbotsford, which obviously I can't go there now because woo, yay flooding, yay woo. But I remember there was like a Petro by like the university that I went to, and ooh, bitch, they always had such cheap gas prices. Always, it was always like 99 cents. I was like, but I know that it's probably not even like that right now. But do you remember when gas prices increased and then they asked John Horgan, who, for those of you who don't know, he's BC's premier.
His cancer, hey?
He does?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I did hear about that, yeah.
Anyways, go on.
But he was asked about rising gas prices, and he said, yeah, like this will kind of dwindle down and affect people in the future, creating like a better... what the hell did he describe it as? He basically said that it's going to help future generations with other costs, so it'll be cheaper for them if gas prices are higher now, which I was like, At first I was like, hey, that really doesn't make any sense. And then like 2 years later, I'm like, yeah, no, that really doesn't make any sense. Because it's like one aspect of life that like you're significantly increasing the price of. It doesn't really make much sense. And like he didn't even describe it properly, like how it's going to affect future generations.
That also doesn't sound realistic.
It doesn't seem like it has like a butterfly effect. Hey, butterfly effect. How you doing? But it doesn't seem like it has it. I don't know. Maybe it weirdly does in some form, but from what I've seen, and I'm also pissed because I drive a car and I don't like paying motherfucking more gas. Even though my Honda is now really, really good on gas. And I literally haven't had to fill my tank. Well, okay, I filled my tank last week, but I didn't in 2 weeks prior. It was like a lot of time.
Well, I've already decided that like this is going to be my last gas powered vehicle. So
you're going to switch to like electric?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Are you going to do like a Tesla or like?
You think I can fucking afford a Tesla?
Well, what are cheap electric vehicles? You're going to ride in a fucking scooter?
Maybe. I don't know. I like my VW and they're going completely electric, so I might just get a VW.
Oh, okay. Well then yeah, that's good. I mean, I just got my Honda like what, almost 2 years ago now, and I still have it for another 4 years. And I'm probably, if it's still like a good car in 4 years, I'm probably still going to keep it for a bit. But
oh yeah, when you buy a new car, it makes the most sense to drive it to the ground. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, technically mine wasn't like new. It had like 40,000 kilometers in it, but that's still really fucking low.
Yeah, that is low. That is low.
So it's 2018.
Did somebody trade it in, or was it like a demo?
I don't actually know. We kind of just like
So you're an uninformed consumer.
I'm just uninformed. We like pulled into the Honda dealership, and it was the first car that I saw. And I was like, I like asked the guy, I was like, is this automatic? And he's like, yeah, that's a 2018 automatic Civic Touring. And I was just like, okay. I was like, can I get that? Like, how much is this? And he told me how much it was. And I was like, okay, I was like, can we test drive it? And he's like, yeah, for sure. And then they gave me like a payment plan, interest rates, all that, whatever. And I was like, cool, I want to get it. And then I got it. And then they were like, yeah, so like insurance is going to be $500. I was like, okay, wait, hold on, what? And they were like, don't worry, if you sign like somebody to it, it'll only be like $350. But now with like the rebates coming from ICBC, it's now only like $250 something, I think now. But yeah, I don't know if they traded it in. I would assume so, because I wouldn't know of like another reason why. Because especially since like it's a 2018, that's a lot of kilometers it had for 2018 too. I bought it in 2019 at the end of the year. And of course you can buy 2018 vehicles in 2017. But like that's a lot of kilometers even for like 2 years. It's a lot.
I think this is kind of related to our topic, but do you think that like, so people are starting to panic by food again now, hey?
Oh, I mean, like, now, have you seen like videos of like what grocery stores are looking like now?
Yes.
But I mean, this makes sense because like we have a huge flooding issue in BC, and so like, what was the state of, or not? Well, I guess it's like a state of emergency for the Abbotsford area. Was it Sumas?
Sumas Prairie was evacuated.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right, evacuated. But yeah, they stated like a state of emergency, and then I
for
looked
Abbotsford,
on, yeah, I looked on my Snapchat, and they have like a little like collection of snaps for the Abbotsford area. So I clicked it, and it's like multiple grocery stores, and it's like the lineup for grocery stores, and it's like, holy shit, like what the fuck? I don't think I've ever seen this in my life. Like, well, especially like a domino effect for 1 year between like the heat waves, the fires, the flooding, the storms, the tornado.
But do you remember when COVID started, when like right before our complete lockdown?
Oh, yeah. I mean like in terms of like weather.
Okay, in terms of weather.
But yeah, like, no, I remember like, COVID. Remember like toilet paper.
But not even just toilet paper. When you had to be at the grocery store when it opened, or you couldn't buy meat. Mm-hmm. Like the meat was empty, and the non-perishable was empty.
Maybe they were just trying to like test out veganism.
Maybe.
No, this was their plan. They were like, it's COVID.
With the non-perishable food, it wasn't even that they were running out. It's that the grocery store clerks couldn't keep up with stocking the shelves.
Yeah.
I remember then they had started putting item limits on stuff, like where it's like you can only buy a dozen eggs at a time. Like, yeah, it was like, so I think
or like you can only buy like one thing of toilet paper, like one or pack or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But yeah, I mean, I think that people are starting to panic by like it might even be worse than when COVID started.
Yeah. Oh, I mean for here for sure, 100%. Mm-hmm. But so let's say where we live had a similar issue for where it was just like we're basically surrounded with water, and people were stockpiling and everyone was worried. Would you do the same?
Well, I think that economically speaking, if you don't do the same, then you're worse off, right? Because like if you think about it like, and this applies to a lot of economic principles. So like if you don't panic buy because you think that it makes everybody's situation worse, you're correct. But if you're the only one doing that, you're worse off than everybody else.
Yeah.
So like in that little four square economic game, like your only real option is to copy the market and to panic buy.
You'd basically just have to like eat fast food. That's like a main go-to.
Yeah,
because I guess grocery stores wouldn't be as reliable.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
But yeah, I remember there was something. I can't remember really what it was. I was staying at my grandma's and we stockpiled on like water. I think it was like a hydro issue or something like that. We stockpiled on water and then like perishable or non-perishables and like all that jazz. And we didn't really need it like completely, but it was just the worry that it could happen. Like we could run out of water. There could be an issue. So like we needed to worry about like, obviously like it ain't just like drinking water we're gonna have to worry about. We're gonna have to worry about like showers. We're gonna have to worry about like going pee or poop. We're gonna have to worry about washing our hands. It's just like it's a lot of stuff that it dwindles down to, but I can't really remember what it was for. I think I would most likely have to ask about it, but this is like years ago. But yeah, that wasn't too fun. We had like little what did they look like? You know those alcohol kind of glass things that look like teapots? They're like the Crown Royal kind of, not like Crown Royal, but they're really hard to describe. They look like teapots, but they're glass, and like usually they hold like some sort of like bourbon or
like a decanter.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, but yeah, we had like a bunch of those filled with water. Nice. That was. I really Do you remember a time where like that happened? Because maybe we can like think of it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's the time. But
in terms of like panic buying stuff, no, not really. Not that's not recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of theories out there. Like a lot of people are saying like, oh, our supply to Eastern Canada has been cut off, so like that's why our food's gonna dwindle. So yeah, I think a lot of people are just worried for Christmas time, right? Like.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But
especially with like parcel delivery, because like even in the States there are like highways shut down. So like if you're having a parcel delivered through from like Washington up here, they could have huge issues with like time of delivery. So it's best to kind of like early order.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw someone talking the other day, and she was saying that consumer goods, like if you're Christmas shopping, she said if you see something that you might want to buy for somebody and you see it on a store shelf somewhere, don't walk away from it, buy it. And she also said that one of the things that I don't want to contribute to this, but actually might run out closer to Christmas is like liquor. So like if you're after like a certain type of beer or whatever, like you might not be able
Jordan,
to get
we need
it.
to end this podcast. We need to go right now.
Wait,
I'm picking you up and we're going to the liquor store right now. Okay.
You want to get your Summersby?
Yeah. Shut up. You said it was one of your faves too.
Yeah,
bitch.
I love Summersby.
They're so I saw this thing come back and I actually totally forgot about it. This is not alcohol, by the way, which is like, but and I also have another thing to bring up that's kind of cool. But they brought up, what was it? It was like cranberry Sprite. Remember that? I've never tried it before, but they're bringing it back, and I want it so bad.
Sounds like it could be good.
So bad. Mm-hmm. But also another thing. So, I read about this recently because there was a video showed of like, they basically held a thing of Pepsi against like a car windshield for a certain amount of time, and it literally like burned through the windshield.
Yeah. Do you know that some police officers carry Coke in their car to like wash blood off the road?
That's crazy. But yeah, so I read something and it was like a court case involving Mountain Dew, and this guy was like, yeah, I found a rat inside my Mountain Dew. This is your guys' fault. And you want to know what the defense and the reason they won their case was?
What?
They said if this rat was in there for 30 days, which is the claim the guy was making, this rat would be dissolved by the carbonation of Mountain Dew because it was made like, apparently it could do that. It could fully dissolve a rat within that amount of time.
That's like mildly, like,
isn't that fucked up?
A shock, but like I'm not completely shocked by
yeah,
that. Like,
but I mean, like that's the thing that like won them the case.
Oh, they won the case?
Oh yeah. Oh, Mountain Dew won the
Well,
case
this
because
is
they were like, this can't,
well,
because like he made it up. He
you
was
know
like,
what's
this can't,
interesting
or
though? You
what?
know what's interesting though? Like, okay, I heard this recently that okay, so in chocolate, they say if you apply statistics to it, there's a certain amount of dead insects in all chocolate. Okay. And the FDA allows for a certain amount of dead insects in chocolate.
Love
And like
that.
and like I had to take business statistics for school, and there's a standard deviation of like X amount that the amount of dead insects will differ from like chocolate bar to chocolate bar. So that was I don't know that made my skin crawl.
Well, I mean, do you believe in the whole like, oh, you eat this many spiders in your lifetime because when you're sleeping they crawl into your mouth?
I read that you eat 8 spiders a year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's creepy. That does not sit well with me.
No, me neither. I mean, but I'm also of the belief that ignorance is bliss. So it's like as long as I don't know about it.
Even though you read about it. Oh, but you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, like if I ate a spider last night, like at least I didn't experience it.
I'm gonna bring a spider over to you. I'll bring my tarantula. Remember my tarantula?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that a couple days ago.
I actually don't know where it is. Because I know I took it out of my
For the viewers, this is a dead tarantula that's in
yeah,
like
it's
this like
stuffed inside like a
like a
half
crystallized
circle.
glass.
Yeah, it's like a yeah. But yeah, I know I took it out. I can't remember where I put it. But yeah, weird. That was so funny. I just replaced your mouse with the fucking thing. I mean, you didn't have as harsh of a reaction as I wanted you to.
I like barely reacted
What the fuck?
because I like put my hand in to touch the mouse, and I'm like it just felt weird, so I like looked at it and I'm like, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
you felt it, and then immediately you put your hand back and you're like, what the fuck? Should we move on?
Yeah, finally.
Finally, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Spit it out.
should we have like, where do you remember the links that you got for the inflation issue for like Canada per se? Like, do you remember the articles that you read, or like what part of sites
Yeah,
they were
I
on?
used it was YouTube.
Okay.
One of the like I watched a bunch of videos. It was like a bunch like US news sources and then like CBC and stuff.
Yeah, this article that I have about Canadian inflation is from CBC. It said, because I think you said September was 4.4%.
Yeah, it was 4.4. Let me
Yeah,
just double check the month.
this October, I mean, it says last month was 4.7, so it makes sense that September would be 4.4 if it is.
Oh, so it's still getting higher.
I mean,
Lovely.
if September was 4.4, it doesn't say anything about 4.4 here.
Hmm. But
Um,
I mean, I do remember reading when I found September was 4.4 that like the previous month was like 3.9, which was the highest since 2003. So we're just like we're still climbing.
yeah, this also says, this is a CBC article as well. This says meat prices have risen by almost 10% on average, with bacon in particular going up at more than
Yes.
twice that rate.
I heard that too.
And
Yeah,
then,
bacon.
overall Canadian grocery bills are going up at a 3.9% annual pace. And then the data agency said this. It said labor shortages that have slowed down production, ongoing supply chain challenges, and rising prices for livestock feed continue to factor into higher prices for meat. Oh yeah, and then they have like a list of things that are rising too. There's like clothing and footwear is up 0.6%, transportation's up 10.1%, shelters up 4.8%. Oh, Vancouver was rated the worst city in all of North
Yes.
America in terms of housing. I remember
I know.
bringing that up with you.
Yeah. Yep.
Like the number, which is not shocking at all. It's not shocking. I think they said the average house in Vancouver cost 1.136 million.
But I also heard too that like they're saying that like the like and this is what I found when I was researching the inflation topic was housing is not like now housing isn't our only issue, right? Like it's just cost of living in general.
Yeah.
With the price of food and gas the way it is. So like housing is probably the worst thing, but it's not the only thing.
Yeah, exactly. But
Should we move on?
yeah, let's move
Okay.
on to the topic that we have been planning for. I love how you get up. You're like, okay. The topic that we have literally been planning for 3 weeks or a month. I don't really know how long it's been now, but it's funny. So we're going to be talking about, I don't really know the best way to describe it, like alcohol consumption per culture, or like cultural use of alcohol.
Well, yeah, like cultural use with alcohol, with like maybe like different parts of the world, different generations, like
I was going to
what's
say,
healthy, what isn't.
when you sent me because like this is a topic that Jordan had thought of. And when you sent me it, I was like, okay, does he mean this or this? And I was going to ask you in the moment.
Is this your question? Is this your question? Okay.
So are we talking about like alcohol use per culture, like whether it's like, you know, like Asian culture, European culture, or are we talking about like the culture that alcohol has created, or are we talking about like consumption of alcohol per country? Like, what are we gonna I mean, like, I'm down for whatever, because I have multiple sources for any of the things that we talk about.
So for me, it's the second one, but it can be all of them.
So the culture of alcohol
Yes.
and like what it's kind of created.
Yes.
Party.
And like
That's,
us versus
I feel
our
like,
parents.
I feel like that's like a
etc.
good umbrella term for everything, really. Because it's like, obviously we're looking at different parts of the world no matter how we talk about it. Because like we have our own personal experiences here, whether it's like, I mean, just like our own Canadian experience, which might not even span across for all Canadians. But I mean, we have research from other places in the world too. So, I mean, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? Or like, should we have like something specific that we talk about first?
Well, I think the main thing that I want to focus on is, I think that like the difference between Gen Zers, millennials, and boomers 1 and boomers 2, and compared to like what is normal, what is healthy, what isn't healthy. I think in general, like the boomers have like, there's a lot more boomers, I will say. I won't make like sort of sweeping generalizations, that it's like when they get home from work, it's not there's not like a thought process that goes into like, am I drinking tonight? It's like, okay, work's over, it's time to chill, time for a drink.
Yeah.
I think it's automatic, and I don't think that that's something that is healthy.
And you said, sorry, that's with boomers?
Boomers specifically, more so than our generation.
I mean,
that's what I think.
I would agree, honestly, because like, so I would agree with boomers, but I would also agree with Gen X, because like my parents are both Gen X, and like, girl, yeah, that's their lifestyle. They go home and they drink.
But your parents are Gen X?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the years for Gen X?
So it says Gen X here is 1965 to 1980.
Okay.
So boomers 1 is 46 to 54. Boomers 2 is 55 to 64.
Okay. So my parents are both boomer 2, but it's like right at the end of boomer 2.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, and then there's like Gen X, oh wait, what the fuck? This says like boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. But no, it says Gen X, 1965, 1980, millennials, 81 to 96, and then Gen Z, 97 to 12. So you're a millennial, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then I'm obviously a Gen Z. But yeah, I mean, I agree fully. Like, or even if it's like the weekend, they'll spend...
Gen Z, you American?
Oh, shut up. They'll spend a lot of time on the weekend drinking.
Yeah, and I think another problem becomes too when like any group of people like can't have fun without drinking.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. Because I mean, like, there's such like, one of the cultures around alcohol consumption is celebration. So like whenever you're at like a party, or let's even say like a big event like a wedding, you're gonna have a ton of alcohol there.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that like it might not be completely healthy, but I think that that's more socially normal.
Oh yeah, because
right?
like, yeah, it's, I mean, I guarantee you the majority of alcohol use, or actually, I don't know, maybe a study should be done on this, but like a lot of alcohol use is in social settings, like at restaurants, at bars, at parties,
because
get-togethers.
Honestly, it's like it's the greatest social lubricant there is, right? Like if you're at a bar with somebody or a group of people, or if you're at a party, right? Like nothing will like loosen your inhibition in a way that makes you social more than alcohol will.
Yeah.
So I think in those situations it's very useful.
But and yeah. I think like I feel like especially because there are obviously settings, I think this is mostly, I would say, at parties in my life, where you're meeting new people, and the way that you kind of get more comfortable and you ease into it more is drinking alcohol.
100%, because your walls come down.
Exactly.
But it's even like it's very useful, like for any of you who are interested in this subject. Joe Rogan had a fellow on who's a professor actually at UBC named Edward Slingerland, who talked a lot about like the history of alcohol and like how humans started drinking and what it was used for and like how we've come from then to now. It's really interesting. But so like he says too that a lot of like alcohol has really high creative qualities to it too, right? So like if you're writing or if you have to if you're an artist, right? Like it lowers inhibition, it increases creativity, and it sort of like brings us back to like almost like a childhood state.
Yeah. I mean, I majority of the times that I have drank, oh, actually, I can't even say this because I know that I've drank a lot by myself. So right now, like probably over the past like 2 years, I really haven't drank much. Even like summer's being shit, I really have not drank much. But before, I didn't drink a lot. I just drank like more commonly. Majority of the stuff that I drink is like ciders and like kind of like low percentage alcohol drinks that are sweet. I don't really go into like tequila or like gin or vodka. Rum and Coke, bitch, give me that any day of the week and I will love you. But yeah, I would say Summersby is probably my favorite alcohol.
Yeah,
But
see, I've always been a beer person, but it's like RIP to beer because I've been having lots of stomach issues in the last couple of years, and I'm not allowed to drink beer anymore. So I'm like really trying hard to get into whiskey, but like, like I think I went through like partying days when I was like 19-ish, like a lot of people do, where I would like drink every weekend. But like I think normally for a long time, my sort of like normal rhythm is every 3 weeks ish when there's like something going on.
yeah.
Like if it's like during non-COVID times, if there's like a concert or if I'm like going to the bar with somebody or if I'm watching UFC fights, I think that's like my normal amount. And I'm quite comfortable with that. Because it's like, I never want to have that thing happen to me where it's like, it's thoughtless, where there's not conscious thought that goes into making the decision to drink.
Yeah. Do you think that there's like an issue with the age limit for drinking? Like you have to be 19 here, or like, I mean, Alberta is 18, but I'm pretty sure is it 19 for the rest of the country?
Alberta's, yeah, like you said, Alberta's 18. I think it's 19 everywhere else. Like, could be wrong.
Yeah. As far as I know.
So okay, so I don't remember the source, and I read this a long time ago, but I heard that alcohol is harmful to the human brain until it's fully developed, which is like 25. So I mean, I think it could be looked at.
Yeah.
But also like if you're telling like 18-year-old me that like actually it's 25, like I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. So
Well, I mean, you'd still be illegal at 18.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like you're just
Yeah, you're just waiting for you to turn 19.
Yeah, because obviously we don't underage drink, right?
All right, so thank you guys so much for coming to today's session of conversion therapy.
Yeah, I think I don't know what I was gonna say now. Hey, do you have something you're gonna say?
Yes. So, I mean, you brought it up. There's kind of like a culture that's created about like early drinking, especially in high school. Like the amount of parties that go on that obviously center around alcohol use. And I'm gonna say this right now. And thank God I thought of this. So I will never drink to like satisfy the conditions that somebody else has made. Because a lot of people just drink to like
if you're upset to like not feel upset. Is that what you're saying?
No. Because like, I mean, I understand that because like I've done that before. But like majority of the time that I drink to like have fun and enjoy myself. Like I'll drink when I'm playing video games and like streaming, or I'll drink when like I have friends over and like in Vegas we drank. And you know, like that's I've kind of always had that mindset. Like if you are drinking, you should drink to like enjoy yourself. And
so are you saying you wouldn't drink to make under peer pressure? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I didn't really go to, it wasn't on my bucket list to really go to many parties, just on the basis of like I heard many bad things happening and like people getting taken advantage of at parties, and I didn't want to be in that setting because it was just really, it created like an uncomfortable feeling for me. But majority of the people that I went to high school with they would go to parties and like drink just on the basis that they're like, oh yeah, like all my friends are doing this. Like I'm just gonna be one of the cool kids. It wasn't even peer pressure. They just wanted to fit in. And like, I'm just like, baby, like that's not like, no, like that's not healthy at all. Like if you're going to like fit in and like because your friends are doing this and like this isn't something that you would normally do under normal circumstances, well then one, they're not your friends, and two, this isn't something that you should be doing because you're creating an environment that's extremely toxic to yourself. And like it's just not something that should be done. And that was done majority of the time that people went over to drink. They wouldn't do it to enjoy themselves. They would do it because they wanted people to talk about them in the setting. They wanted other people to know they were there as well. And like, I don't know, that just,
I think when people underage drink, they do it to get crazy. Like it's less, right? It's like you do it for kind of like for chaos.
yeah. Oh, 100%.
But I think that when you're talking about like peer pressure and stuff when you're like during high school, I think there's a lot of different factors at play there because like you're like as like teenage kids, honestly, like I hope I never have to like raise a teenage child because there's like so much shit going on. Like your
Just
hormones
raise them 0 to 12, give them to somebody else for 7
right?
years and then bring them
So
back.
it's like you think like, and my parents always used to say this and I used to hate it. I used to get mad, but like it's so true. Like it's like the phase where you think you know everything. They always used to say, like, I would always hear my mom say that to other people. She'd be like, yeah, he's in that stage, you know, where like he thinks he knows everything. And I'd be like, fuck off.
Yeah, it was just weird because I actually did know everything. Continue.
But so yeah, I think there's like a lot of hormonal things going on. I think that there's a lot of like you don't know your identity, so like you're trying to fit in and see where you fit in. So like you're more susceptible to peer pressure than you are like later on in your life. So I think that so I agree with you, but I think that there's a lot of different factors at play.
Yeah.
But I remember what I was going to say earlier was when I was saying that they're saying the human brain isn't fully developed till you're 25. So I think maybe that could be changed if that's true. But like there's a lot of things around that, like around that same principle in our society that need to be changed that I don't think will. Like there's actual evidence that a teenage brain isn't like fully awake and able to take in information until like 10 a.m. Yet we start high school at 8
like
a.m.
7,
every
8
day.
a.m. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and that needs to be changed, but I don't think it ever will. So I don't think this will either.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, like if there were enough studies that came out in support of it and was like this is the best thing to do for humanity, then I mean, I would be in support of it, obviously. If it's just a sudden change that happens with like no reason, I mean, even if there might be a reason, but if they come out and they're just like, yeah, we're just increasing this just because, then I'd be like, bitch, why? Like there are bigger things to worry about. But I think I was extremely grateful in high school because the friend group that I had, like the main friend group that I had, there were 6 of us. And like we were not avid drinkers by any means. And I guess we kind of really still aren't. But like when we do drink together, we fully drink to like enjoy ourselves, to catch up, to have fun. We just do it because it's like you said, it's like a lubricant for comfortability. And that's like, I mean, we've known each other. Some of us have known each other for 18 years. And like, I think the shortest time I've known one of them is, that'd be like 10 years. That's the shortest time. And so like whenever we get together and maybe like, I mean, majority of the time we get together, we don't even drink, but like when we do, it's kind of just, I'm grateful that it's not really an environment where it feels like it's kind of like a toxic drinking environment. Like you need to have the alcohol because there's so many times where like parties, like it's not going to be enjoyable if you don't have alcohol. I think that's a huge issue too. And there are other friends that I have that I talk to this day that like are out of like my main friend group that like is the same story. They either don't drink or like when we do, it's just fully to enjoy ourselves. And I feel like having that environment, especially in like a place where it was so dominated by like a party scene, is extremely important. And it was very like healthy to go through. I'm definitely very grateful that I had those people and still have those people to kind of go to. Oh, that was so sentimental.
It was. That's very unlike you.
I know, that's really weird. Definitely editing that out.
I think like, so first of all, I think that like alcohol is way more harmful to people's health and people's families than marijuana.
I mean, isn't it considered a drug?
Alcohol? Oh,
Yeah.
100%. 100%. So is caffeine. I mean,
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that alcohol is way more harmful than marijuana is. Way
Oh,
more harmful.
I 100% agree. So this is let me just see. So this is from 2012. So this is a couple years ago. This is according to the World Health Organization. 6% of all deaths worldwide are contributed to alcohol use or misuse.
And that's where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
So
it's about 3.3 million deaths per year. But continue.
there was a study shown in Canada that in terms of like our healthcare system, the majority of the and I don't remember the exact context. Maybe it was just drugs, but so in terms of like drunk driving related things, disease you get from alcohol, injury caused through maybe domestic disputes, etc. Like in terms of like cost to our healthcare, alcohol was number one.
Yeah. Even like the states, like this is Centers for Disease Control and Prevention stated that excessive alcohol use is the third leading cause of death in the U.S. This is from 2014, and it accounts for 88,000 deaths per year. But I remember even reading about like I have a couple things pulled up just like around the world, and then specific ethnic groups by gender. This is I guess this was like there's like a drinking table and like status and heavy drinking report for alcohol consumption in the States, and this is by ethnic groups and by gender, and this was back in 2002. This is back in but yeah, they say males are more prominent drinkers than females, which is not shocking at all. But they say the background with the most like weekly and daily heavy drinking are Native Americans. And then I think they were followed by, let me just see here. Yeah, they were followed by white people and then Hispanic people.
Do you know that they've also said that generally speaking, if you're a highly intelligent person, you're more likely to be a heavy drinker?
I guess that skipped over me.
Or you're misinformed.
Oh, totally. I mean, you're not a heavy drinker, so what does that say about you? It's following suit. All right, so, but what were you gonna say? Didn't you have like something to report? That I justly interrupted you about?
I don't remember. It'll come back to me.
You were talking about like Canadian statistics, and I mean, you brought up the fact that
yes,
healthcare.
So there's a number of physicians that came out and said, like, you know, when you buy a pack of cigarettes and it shows you like a person's teeth or whatever.
Yes.
They think, and I kind of agree with this, that like they don't. I mean, I know economically why this is the case, but like they don't understand why alcohol gets a free sort of pass. They think that those warnings should be on booze as well. They're saying that for whatever reason, like they just gets a free pass. Like no one ever talks about how bad it is for you. And I mean, this is true with cigarettes too. I mean, the government taxes cigarettes, but I think the government makes tons of money on alcohol, so they turn a blind eye to it.
Oh, 100%.
But even like, for example, like, and I always talk about this because it pisses me off, but like when in March of 2020, when everything here was shutting down, they extended the fucking liquor store hours. So it was like you can't go to like the bookstore, but liquor stores are now open 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. to mitigate groups of people, like large groups of people. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, I remember we were talking about that too. And then remember when we had the vaccine passports first introduced, and you didn't need them to get into liquor stores?
Yes, I have a. I mean, we might even already talk. I think we vaguely mentioned.
Oh yeah, we did. I forgot we went over that.
But yeah, I think that's. I don't know. Is it an essential service, or is it just about the almighty tax dollar?
Definitely about money. Imagine if alcohol was like as necessary in the human body as water.
I think for some people it is.
I was gonna say, but yeah, I was like reading through kind of like a rundown of like the drinking. This is like specific to the drinking culture in Europe, but it was like Italy, which I mean, Italy is kind of like, you can think of like wine being prominently consumed in Italian culture, which makes sense.
And also, in France, like everything, like, so lunchtime during a work day, like everything closes and like you go home and you have lunch with your family, and like they give wine to like underage kids.
Really?
Like they have it with their meals. Yeah. So it's viewed very differently there. And then you have the converse. So like in Russia, I heard that beer was considered a soft drink until like 2003.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm reading this thing on German, or like, yeah, Germans, which Germans drink a lot of beer.
probably.
And
Yeah.
then it says Germans drink 28 gallons per capita every year, making them the third largest consumer of beer worldwide.
I wonder what one and two are.
I'm trying to think. Let me look it up.
Okay, let's make guesses. Okay, we can guess one and two, one guess for each, one and two.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of like what.
So I'm gonna go USA number one,
I'm thinking USA is number 1 or 2 as well.
and then I feel like Canada would be up there. I don't know if we're gonna be number two. Um,
I'm gonna go US and Russia.
US and Russia. I don't. Okay, fair enough, but I don't think they're big on beer out there. I think they're vodka people. Maybe that's just a stereotype. Um, I'm gonna go. You know what? Just because I can't think of another fucking country that's gonna wait. You know what? I'm gonna go USA number one. I'm gonna go UK number two.
Okay, so I'm looking. This is a beer consumption per capita.
Okay.
And so, Jesus Christ. So it says Germany's fourth in this one. So whatever,
Okay.
it's still accurate information.
Okay.
My God. So we're wrong.
Okay.
Wait, what did you say was number 2? USA and what?
UK.
UK. Okay, yeah, no. None of ours were even in the top 10.
Okay.
This is like really I'm like looking at
Is Belgium or the Netherlands number two? Number one or two?
let me look. None of them.
No. Okay. What's number one?
The Czech Republic.
Oh, I never would have guessed
And
that.
they're like number 1. So Germany has so this is the 10 countries with the highest beer consumption per capita in liters are Germany is fourth with 104.2 liters.
Okay.
Czech Republic is first with 143.3 liters.
Jesus.
So it's,
And I would think that Germany has quite a. I mean, it's per capita, so population doesn't matter. But
second
what's number
is
two?
Namibia. I don't know how to pronounce the name.
What continent is that country in?
I would.
I don't even know.
I feel like this is just like I feel like it's an African country.
And I feel like I know a lot
Yeah,
about geography.
Namibia. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm assuming that that's how you do it. It's in southern Africa. I thought so.
Okay.
But yeah, they are in second with 108 liters. In third is Austria, and Austria has 106 liters.
See, because that whole like European area, I know has a really high beer consumption. Like,
I should have guessed this fucking country. I'm
What?
looking at it now, and I should have guessed this.
What?
Ireland,
oh yeah, that was a big fuck
number
up.
6.
I would have put them number two if I remembered that.
Yeah, same. I would have put them as 1 or 2, but yeah, they're number
Yeah.
6 with 98.2, and then Poland's number 5. That makes sense for Poland.
In my opinion, Ireland is the home of the greatest beers ever created.
I'm trying to think of like the shocking because they have like I think they have a top 20 here. But yeah, there's like countries like Croatia, Finland, Bulgaria, Panama, Iceland, Spain, Slovenia, Slovakia, Lithuania, Estonia.
I think the most shocking one is the African one.
Yeah, I know. And especially like they have, I guess the 2021 population was around 2.5 million. Czech Republic is like the Namibia is in second with 108 liters. Czech Republic is 143.3 liters. That's like insanely.
I can't even name, like, you know how a lot of countries, like, they have like a flagship beer, like Holland has Heineken and Ireland has Guinness. I can't even think of a Czech beer. Like, I can't. I don't know one.
Examples of Czech Republic. Was that your stomach?
Yeah, I'm so hungry.
Jeez. Yeah, they're all. I don't even think I'd be able to pronounce any of these. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's like a lot of them. They have. It's like, oh, okay. This says the 15 best Czech beers. All right, well, we're going to Czech Republic, and that's our next vacation.
Do you even like beer?
I don't hate it. It's just not my go-to.
But you want to go to Czech Republic?
We
to
can
drink
test
beer?
absolutely. We can probably find some sweet beers. 100%. Let's do it. It's just not Guinness. I fucking hate Guinness. Guinness
Dude,
is
that's my favorite
disgusting.
beer of all time.
Yeah,
so
Guinness is
get
disgusting.
fucked.
Yeah, you have wrinkles. Guinness is disgusting. I'm trying to think. Is that all?
Yeah, I think we touched everything.
Did we?
This is probably a long one, hey?
We've had longer.
Oh, okay.
I've had longer.
Should we do that? Should we do our of the session now?
Yeah, we could. Yeah, let's do it.
I haven't thought about this at all.
Yeah, I forgot this was a thing. Okay, I have mine.
Okay, you go.
So it's not going to be like, I can't think of anything that's like favorite now and favorite all time. So we're just going to do 2 of this.
Okay.
So if you had the chance to, which 2 superpowers would you want?
Okay, I think, yeah. So for me, it would be invisibility and the ability to fly.
Okay, that's pretty close to mine.
Okay.
Mine is teleportation. Teleportation will always be my number 1, and invisibility. I feel like the ability to fly would be cool, and so I would just kind of like be like, oh, do you want to fly? And then I would just like, you'd piggyback me, and then you would fly. So I'd be like, woo, this is my superpower too. And then I would hold your hand as we teleport, and then it wouldn't take you.
I almost chose like sort of like benevolence, like being all knowing.
Okay.
But some things I don't want to know, you know?
And I feel like there's satisfaction in like being able to know things that a lot of other people don't, just on the basis that you've done, like not on the basis that you have the superpower. Just on
But then
the
you'd
basis
also
that...
know what people like actually think of you.
Yeah, I don't
and I
give
feel
a
like, you don't give a fuck?
I don't give a fuck. I already know what people think about me.
So you don't care that I hate you?
Bitch, I'm using you. Teleportation has always been my number 1. My number 2 has always changed. Like before, it used to be the all-knowing superpower. It used to be flying. I'm pretty sure for a bit it used to be super speed, and then I was like, that's not really necessary when I have teleportation. But I feel like invisibility would be super, like those 2 combined, bitch, that is, because I feel like flying and invisibility is really cool, but like, I don't know, if you can combine invisibility and teleportation, you can just use that to your advantage. It'd just be really fucking cool. All right, your turn.
I can't think of one, so I think we should just do the one.
No.
I can't think of one.
Well, then think of something that we can have, like, we can pick 2 choices from.
Okay, what's your favorite thing about Christmas? Go. Okay, I'll go first.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to today's session of conversion therapy.
What?
That one's so bad.
Well, then let's leave it. I can't think of anything.
Like our 2 favorite things about Christmas?
That was me one favorite thing, but okay.
Well, I mean, I did 2 just because we normally do like 2 separate things for whatever we're talking about. Okay, what about like, do you have like 2 favorite video games?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, yeah.
So wait, we're editing it, so you're gonna bring this up after I stop talking.
You really? You don't want credit for this?
I mean, I'll know that I did it, and if anyone asks.
Okay, fine. Okay, I got one. What are your 2?
But yes, go 2 what? I'm really excited. I wonder what this is.
Should we redo that because you're
No, that was good, you fuck. That was so funny.
Okay, so current favorite. Actually, I can't do current favorite because I don't play video games anymore.
Or you want to do video games? Well, why don't we just do 2 like just 2 favorite.
Okay. 2 favorite video games of all time. I'll go first.
Okay, and so this has to be like specific video games. Like if you say like Halo as like
No, gotcha.
Halo. Okay.
Gotcha. Also, speaking of Halo, do you know it was like the 20th anniversary of its release like 2 days ago?
They just released Halo Infinite too. Like a new Halo.
Oh, a new Halo. But yeah, but it's not even the same studio that makes it anymore.
Oh, it isn't? Oh. No. I never played Halo.
I think it was dude, it was so good. But okay, so yeah, for favorite 2 games of all time. First one, Zelda, the Ocarina of Time on Nintendo 64. That game, I gave my N64 to my sister, but I would still play that game. It is so good. Have you ever played that game?
No.
Okay, it's so good. I think they did a remaster on
cool.
something. But anyway, so that game. Second favorite game of all time. This is going to be tough. I'm going to go with original StarCraft. I'm huge into like real-time strategy. That's like my favorite type of game. Like the last game I actually played was StarCraft 2 when I got my laptop. I love that game, but shout out to World of Warcraft. Okay, your turn.
This one's hard because like anyone who knows me knows that I love Apex, and Apex is my favorite game right now. So if we could do like a current versus all-time favorite, I would be able to do it. But since we're not doing that, obviously we're not doing that. But yeah, Apex is definitely my number one right now. Trying to think. I mean, I'm trying to think of which one of these I like more. So I was obviously a very avid Call of Duty player. That is my favorite kind of series of games of all time. And I'm trying to think of which one I like more between Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3.
You're such a basic bitch. Are you really gonna say Call of Duty?
Bitch, you just chose Legend of Zelda. Don't talk to me about being
At least
basic.
at least I chose a vintage classic one.
No. Don't
Anyways,
talk to me
go on.
about being basic. You're fucking one step away from choosing Mario Party.
Mario Party.
But I'm just, oh god, this is really difficult because a lot of the main things that I did in Call of Duty was play the campaign. I actually loved their campaigns.
The campaigns are epic.
It's so good, but obviously multiplayer was also really cool, and like the special ops was cool too. But I mainly focused on their campaigns. I would probably say, this is so hard. I'd probably say Modern Warfare 2. I'd probably have to give the slight edge to Modern Warfare 2.
The only Call of Duty I've actually like played through the campaign is Modern Warfare 1. The only problem with Call of Duty campaigns is they're typically very, very short. Like,
I agree.
Like Modern Warfare 1 was like a 6-hour playthrough.
Exactly.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah. And like they have such good, I feel like their storylines are really fucking good. Like
they're really
extend
good,
it and it would still be entertaining. It's not like you're actually playing like a 20-hour campaign.
You know what I actually just thought of? I like bought like maybe like 3 years ago. I like went in because I only have a PS3 still, and I like wanted to start playing games again. So I went in and bought like a bunch of cheap used games. I think I bought Modern Warfare 2. I should play that.
You should.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had like a third, or well, I guess the third would be Modern Warfare 3. But if I had a fourth, I love how I made fun of this before, but it would probably be like a Mario game, like Mario Party.
Okay, but don't choose Mario Party. That's like a drinking game.
I mean, I would play Mario Party with
at least choose
like
Super Mario or like
Bros.
Mario Kart. Even choose Mario Tennis. Just don't choose Mario Kart.
Mario
Party.
I remember how fun Super Mario Bros. Was on the DS. I used to play with my cousin all the time. Shout out to you, cousin. I can't mention your name because of, I don't know, consent issues, but whatever. But I love you. I'm probably going to see you soon. Love you. But
Super Mario 64 was better.
Oh, I like that one. How many Mario parties have you played?
I've played in one. I don't know which ones I've played, but I played one on N64, and then my sister has the newest one on her Switch.
Nice.
Yeah,
I think I played the newest one on an old friend's Switch, and it was a lot of fun. But Mario Party 8, that game was a lot of fucking fun. I remember that. I had it for Wii, I think.
Like I said, Mario Party is really fun to play if you have like a bunch of people and you're drinking.
Even like, you remember Wii Sports?
Dude, yeah. Like, you know what's so
much fun?
Mario Tennis is so much fun.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I miss like, because like my dad used to have like Wii, and then he had like a PS3 and like even like a PS2 before, and so like a lot of games we had there. But I missed the Wii so much. I loved Wii Sports Resort. That game was so much fun.
I wasn't huge on the Wii because when I play video games, like I'm not down to move. Like I feel like this is like a consent issue. Like when I want to, like I did not consent to this. Like
yeah, I mean they had like Mario Party for Wii, and that we'd sit down and play most of that, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
but yeah, I kind of miss those games. Even like Little Big Planet, that's a really good game too. But,
I've never played that one, but yeah, I know that game.
I recommend. And then I don't know if they've come out with a third one, but they came out with Little Big Planet 2, and that was a lot of fun. I remember getting that like literally day of it came out, because we were all really excited because we had all really liked Little Big Planet, and that game was so much fun.
But you know what? I'm actually gonna play. I'll play Modern Warfare 2. Now you've got me intrigued because I really liked 1.
Have you? Oh yeah, that's right. That's the only campaign you've played, and you haven't played Modern Warfare 2 yet.
No,
Modern Warfare 2 is a prime ass campaign, bitch.
It's the same characters, right? Like prices in it and shit.
I can't give away.
Okay.
Because do you remember what happened at the end of Modern Warfare 1?
Not really, like vaguely.
So like I think it was Zakhaev or something like that. They shot him. It was like the end scene on the bridge.
And yeah.
So yeah, I can't give away too much, but It's a really, really fucking good campaign.
Okay.
And then I mean I do recommend Modern Warfare 3 after Modern Warfare 2 because that's a fucking good ass campaign too.
But then I'd have to get like a PS4, and that's not happening.
You have a PS3 right now?
Yeah.
Lucky fucking bitch. I want a
what do you
PS3.
Mean? Really?
Oh yeah, of course. I grew up on PS3.
That's 2 gens ago. I thought you'd make fun of me.
No, I love PS3. If it was an Xbox, I'd make fun of you. Do you like PS more than Xbox?
Yeah, one of the gravest mistakes was me buying my dad buying me an original Xbox.
Period. I agree.
Yeah, the PS2, in my opinion, had like the best selection of games of like any system ever.
And like when the PS3 first came out, you were allowed to play PS2 games on it, but I think they like made like a new one that you weren't. So like a lot of our PS2 games we played on the PS3, and it was actually really good.
So second gen Xbox, they fixed this issue, but a lot of like really popular games didn't come out for original Xbox, like GTA. I love GTA.
Oh, GTA 5, love.
Oh, GTA 5 was so good. 4 was so good too.
4 was really good. And apparently they're coming out with the 6th.
Yeah,
it's like in the process.
5 is like, actually, I watched this like Watch Mojo video of like the top video games of all time, and 5 always makes all these lists.
Oh yeah, 5 is that was a prime fucking game. I mean, it still is, obviously. I still have Grand Theft, even like on my PC, I still have the game. Yeah. But I was gonna say something and I fucking can't remember what it was.
But yeah, like so Xbox, like the original Xbox, it had like a lot of really good exclusive releases.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gears of War, Halo, a lot, even like I had a snowboarding game as Amped. That was a sick fucking game. There's a lot of good exclusives, but like a lot of the big cross console games weren't released for it.
Yeah, I remember Sims 2 was a PS2 game that we played, and we would always like get all the cheats for it and then just have unlimited money and just create the best houses. That was so much fun. And then have like our alien Sims. I missed that.
Right. Should we sign off?
I think we should.
All right.
Are we getting close to the camera? Okay. All right.
Thank you for watching the Conversion Therapy podcast.
The Conversation Therapy. Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next week.
We will catch you guys next time. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining. Bye.